Mark Stone, Sky News in Seoul.
Well, joining us now from South Korea is Dr. Robert Kelly, Professor of International Relations at Busan National University. Thank you for talking to us on Sky World News. Professor, how scared are people in South Korea by these threats? Because as we heard in Mark's report, Seoul is well within the range of threats.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you for having me. I think your correspondent was correct in his perception of popular opinion here, that South Koreans have heard this all before, and until something genuinely dangerous happens, until the North actually does something and not just talk, public opinion is just not really swayed. This is not like the Cuban Missile Crisis where people went to the grocery stores and emptied the goods and people were digging bunkers in their basement and things like that. I mean, it's just not happening here. My students come to school and look on their phones and play around and do whatever, and it's not creating hysteria. And that's because, North Korea is the boy who cried wolf. I mean, they do this so frequently that people just don't take it that seriously anymore.
And what do people think of Kim Jong Un? Do they take him seriously, or do they just see him as a 30-year-old who's really a bit bonkers?
There's a fair amount of that, actually, particularly in the conservative press. He's still something of a question mark, though, to the larger public opinion. He's new, he's very young, we don't know very much about him. The North Koreans don't tell us a great deal. He sort of popped up out of nowhere a couple of years ago. So I think South Korea is still waiting. Now, this is really the first big crisis since he took over, and so this will probably have a pretty significant negative impact. The current South Korean president had proposed meeting with him. She just got elected, or she just came into office last month, and she had originally proposed to have a summit meeting with him to sort of start things off anew. I imagine after this, that will be very difficult. Public opinion probably won't permit it.
And, how dangerous do you think this could prove to be? How do you see it playing out?
I think there are two sort of changes. There are two new elements in this escalatory spiral that are different than the previous ones. I mean, this happens fairly regularly, these kinds of sort of tit-for-tat things with the North. The big difference is, one, in 2010, the North did this. There were sort of two provocations that killed 50 South Koreans. And after that, South Korean public opinion really turned against the sort of turn the other cheek approach, which had been typical. And so particularly at the elite level, South Koreans started saying, if they do this again, we are going to hit back. Again, your correspondent mentioned that. I think that's correct. And that makes the situation more dangerous on the southern side. On the northern side, the other issue is that the leader is new. He's very young. He didn't go through the grooming institutions of the government through like the party and the military. So we don't know if he knows how to sort of play this game. His father was very good at brinksmanship, but he knew when to back off because he didn't want to lose the war. We don't know if the new guy knows how to do that. So you have two new elements that make it more dangerous than before.
Dr. Robert Kelly, we appreciate your thoughts and analysis. Thank you for joining us on Sky World News. Both Israeli and Palestinian officials have called for calm